That should have been a minus point. In fact, he's getting it. It's quality. He's so good. Look at most Salah's ever played Fortnite. No one's ever said that about Konate before. Right, hello everybody, welcome back to the Golden Sky. I'm Tom. Today it is the player ratings, and would you believe it, Liverpool have won a game of football. It is as unbelievable as it gets today. Just be careful when you go outside, if you are planning to go outside in the near future. The sky might in fact fall down because Liverpool have won a match. It is not a drill, this has actually really happened, and I get to do ratings today. Actual happy, not quite party ratings, I would say, but we're happy enough. I'm certainly not going to moan in today's ratings. I can smile, I can talk about goals. There was actual goals today. I can talk about good things. Let's not waste any time. Let's get the lads on the board who actually got a vital 3 points in the Premier League today. There they are. What a bunch of absolute legends they are. They're back in my good books this week. But I do want to say, before we start and before we get into the Muckery Index, I do want to say these are obviously coming out a little bit later than they normally would after the game. I'll break the fourth wall. I have been tonight at a birthday party dinner for, and I'll give a shout out for, because I know she'll be watching, the famous grandma with no hips, who gets a mention every now and then on the ratings. It is in fact her birthday today, so anyone watching who wants to wish her a happy birthday, she will be watching this video. Put it in the comments below. That is why I'm a bit delayed. I'm sure you'll all forgive me. I've just come back from the party. I had a haircut today. I've gone shorter than I normally would have wanted to because I'm trying to get the blonde out. That's a whole different set of problems over there. Let's do ratings, shall we? We've rambled enough, and they're not delayed because I've been watching Arsenal Fan TV all day, which I am going to do at some point. I cannot wait. That's a little treat for me, like a little dessert after my meal out there. So let's start, as always, with the Muckery Index. Unsullied by sponsorship since its founding this season, 2025. I think it was founded. I don't know. It might have been 2026. Who knows? Unsullied since sponsorship. Unsullied by sponsorship since its creation. Today there wasn't much muckery at all, was there? Let's be honest. There was one penalty shout we had that Rio took a little tumble on, never a pen. There was one that Salah just kicked the ball straight into Robertson's hand, never a pen. But there's been muckery in my life, let me tell you that much. I mean, yesterday I got my flipping as many of you might know, I've bought a house, right? I'm in the process of moving out of my mum and dad's house to my first ever house. And I got my mortgage letters through the post the other day. What the hell are they all about? To all of you guys watching this who've got a mortgage, I assume most of you or some of you will have a mortgage. How on earth do you ever know what's going on? Because I got them letters, I've been trying to read them. It's impossible. It is impossible. My brain just turns itself off. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have a mortgage soon. That's just going to be part of my life. Am I going to understand it? No, not at all. So that was muckery in itself. I could have picked that. I did also have a little look today at what happened in the year that my grandma was born. I'm sure she won't mind me saying this. It's too late, grandma, if you do. 1942, she was born. And I looked at the date she was actually born as well, April 11th. I was looking, what's going on April 11th? Well, funnily enough, the Titanic made its final stop in Ireland before it set sail across the Atlantic on the 11th of April. And we all know how that went. And funnily enough, it's also today National Submarine Day. So, quite ironic there. That's muckery in itself, but I'm not causing that the Muckery Index today. The only thing that can possibly go on the Muckery Index today is when I see Anthony Taylor's little bald head knocking around Anfield. There's only one thing for it, and it's that a bald mank. This is a very simple equation in life, guys. A bald mank equals a bad day. That's as simple as it gets. You know, a bald mank, it's a bad day, and I could have even put bad dong, but I don't want to leave bad dong on the screen for the whole video. I'm gonna just move past that, and we're gonna go to Marmalade Village, my absolute guy in the net, who once again today made some pretty good saves. We were a little bit under the cosh at certain points today. There was like 5 minutes in the first half where we were a little bit under pressure. And Mamardashvili made a few saves. Nothing that was amazing. Nothing that was like, wow, what a save by the Mr. Marmalade Village man there. But still, did his job, got the clean sheet. That's all I can ask for. Did a goal kick today that genuinely nearly knocked Artemis 2 out of space. It went so high in the air. It was like a missile, nearly knocked them right out of space, sent them hurtling into the atmosphere or out of the Earth's atmosphere even. Luckily, nobody, I think, was harmed. The ball came down. Somebody tried to head it. It's probably Gakpo. Probably missed it. Mamardashvili, not got much else to say, really, apart from that. I'll give him a 7. Made a good punch from a corner. And I thought, that's probably worth a bonus point right there. So there we go. 7 for you, Mamardashvili. And we'll go to Frimpong, who I was surprised to see starting, but happy to see starting. And I think he repaid my happiness in the first half especially. I think he was very good. Well, not very good. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but he helped out with Salah on that right-hand side by getting round him all the time. He was constantly an overlap threat. Wirtz put him in a few times, and he was cutting balls back across the box. But one Robbo came on to, we'll talk about Robbo later, of course, and there was a couple more chances he had to deliver. He won a tackle right on the touchline that led to a chance for us. Salah, I think, then put it in, and it went to Jones maybe or something like that. I thought he did well. I thought he was a threat, at least, which is nice because we haven't been very threatening at all over the recent weeks. We obviously got a few goals today. That was good. Definitely a bit quieter in the second half, I would say. Nothing on Headband Watch. I'm pleased to report Headband Watch was quiet today. So if any of you were panicking about that, don't worry. I had that covered. Not a lot else to say. Then he got brought off obviously for fitness reasons ahead of Tuesday's game. So for me, I'm also going to just give Frimpong a 7 today. Nothing else to say there, really. Konate, I think he was just fine today. Like, I'm certainly not moaning in today's video. Guys, if we win a game at this point, I am not moaning about it, about anything. There was nothing in today's game that is there for me to moan about. We got 3 points. That's all we needed. Arsenal lost earlier in the day. That was just magnificent. It really was as well. And Ibu was just out there doing his thing. Wrestling away, of course. Kept falling over. Everyone was falling over today. But Ibu, I swear, every time I saw him, he was just doing roly-polies on the floor. Do you reckon he's good at, like... Who do you reckon in our team is the best at gymnastics? Weirdly, I think it probably doesn't count as gymnastics, but cheerleading. Right, hear me out on this. Konate, I think he could be dead good at being one of them fellas in cheerleading who are like a base and just lob people up in the air, because he's constantly got hold of the attacker, just hugging him, throwing him around. Like, that's his whole shtick. So I think whack him on UCLA's cheerleading team and he'd fit right in. No one's ever said that about Konate before. That is why you come to the Golden Sky for player ratings, I'm sure of it. Nothing else really to report. There wasn't any particular moments I can think of that I was panicking about what anything Ibu was doing today. So me, it's just a 6. Keep it simple. Let's move on to Van Dijk. Favourite Van Dijk moment from this game was when they crossed the ball in and he did a header, tried to head it away, did a shit header, like completely wrong direction, and it went out for a corner. And the camera zooms in on him and he's there and he was like really annoyed at himself. And because he was so annoyed, he started practicing his header. He was like doing what he should have done. Love that. Love to see the the visualization there from Van Dijk. I just thought that was funny. You got even professional footballers like that level. They had the ball wrong and they're there pretending to head it again. It just made me laugh. I like to see it. Again, similar to Konate, I don't really think he was involved all that much in the game, to be honest. Like, Fulham did their bit. They had a few attacks. I don't really remember Van Dijk or Konate doing much in the way of defending, though. Fulham should have scored a few goals, especially in the second half. They had chances, absolutely. But we were quite comfortable, I would say, for most of the game. It was just, it just felt like a game in April. That's what it honestly felt like. It was just one of them games. It was a football match of many football matches in a world of sport that never ends. And Van Dijk was playing in it, and he gets a 6 on the Golden Skies player ratings. I will say, in 1942, there was definitely no podcasts. I can tell you that much. They had other things to deal with than make podcasts. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So that's something else about 1942. You grew up, you lived long enough to see this If anyone else was born in 1942 watching this, please let me know. Robbo, he was born in about 1942, I think. He was knocking around then. God knows what he was up to, but he was there. And he's leaving at the end of this season. First time we got to see him since he's announced that news. Obviously, the game kicks off straight away. Andy Robertson chant. That was great. Loved that. And then there was one at the end as well. It did feel today like a bit of a weird, like, sort of momentous occasion with Salah scoring and Robbo playing, and like the first game at Anfield since both of those guys have announced their departure. It was quite good. It had quite a nice feeling to it, I think, the game today. And sometimes at the end of, like, even though we've had a really bad season, and though Robbo's not really in the same bracket as Salah for having a bad season, he hasn't played as much, but certainly Salah's had a down season. When they announce that they're leaving, it sort of does bring a nicer feeling towards everything, like a bit of a curtain call, and you can just enjoy their last moments rather than be like, God, this guy is past it. And Robbo today, not to say he played bad, but I mean, he was fine. He was out there doing his thing. And what is his thing these days? Well, it's getting crosses in that don't go past the first man ever. They just get blocked constantly. That's Robbo's thing. And also getting in the box at random occasions and then being the worst finisher in the history of football ever. I mean, if you've got Romario, for example, on one end of the spectrum, let me put the spectrum right here, and then Robbo is Robbo. I can never figure out this camera. Robbo is like the complete other end. They're your two ends of the finishing spectrum. Joel Matip is also a rival for Robbo as the worst finisher of all time, but he did have 99 positioning. So, yes, a Joel Matip mention on the ratings. Wow, who'd have thought that was coming tonight? But there we go. Jolie Surfboards. For those who know, Jolie Surfboards. And yeah, good to see Robbo. 6, I think, is probably fair for him as well. It wasn't vintage today by any means. There were just a few performances that were very good. One in particular, I think you all know who that was. So let's move on. Go to Szoboszlai. Another reason why the sky might fall down today. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs. It might start raining food. Who knows what's going to happen? Because Arne Slot not only won the game, but he did it without starting Ryan Gravenberch. It really did happen. He didn't start Gravenberch in a Premier League game, whether it's a rest or not. He doesn't deserve to have been starting, to be honest. He's been terrible recently. He was awful against PSG. I called it out. I've called it out a lot this season that he hasn't been great. He doesn't play today. Szoboszlai does play in the number 8 position, and I thought he was pretty good today. Not setting the world on fire again by any means, but I love to see those driving runs through the middle. There was one or two in the first half of those where he was driving away from Josh King, like leaving him on his arse. Really good winning the ball back high up the pitch. Few times today, Fulham trying to play out and stuff, and Szoboszlai was really aggressive with his pressing, winning the ball back. I like to see that. That was a bit of exciting football. And when we scored a few goals, the confidence in the boys really did come back. You could almost see it for a spell there. We were really buzzing, and Fulham got back into it in the second half, but overall it was a much more confident, assured performance, and hopefully that gives us the confidence to kick on, at least in the Premier League. I don't fancy us against PSG. I'm not getting ahead of myself. It's not that party ratings level tonight, but for the rest of the season, we've got to just finish in the top 5, and hopefully today gave us a good platform to build on the last 6 games now of the Premier League season. So Szoboszlai, I think I'll go 7 today. Interesting thing about Sobbo, I noticed this. I've noticed this all year, but I've never mentioned it. He actually wears the same boots every game. It's a weird quirk nowadays for a player to do that, like Tony Kroos style, only wearing one pair of boots. You can see his boots. They're an old Nike boot. They're quite dirty, noticeably dirtier than all the other boots, which are obviously fresh each game. And I wonder why. I wonder why he particularly likes those ones, but I hope he never changes because he bangs free kicks in left, right, and centre. And his corners today were good as well. Let's move on to Curtis Jones, who was also knocking around out there today. One thing I will say about Jones today, obviously only played a half, got injured, blah, blah, blah. But he made a tackle. Now, I know what you're thinking. What? None of our players have been making tackles in the middle for months and months. I've been starved. They couldn't tackle a fish in the middle, I'm telling you. They couldn't tackle a fish that wasn't even in the water if it was stationary and they just had to put it in their mouth. They couldn't do it. But today, Jones, he had the bait on the fishing rod. It was in the canal. It was in the river, wherever you want to put it. And the fish were going absolutely mental for it. They were eating that shit right up. And he was there making tackles. That is, honestly, at this point, all I need in the middle of the park. Pass the ball forwards every now and then and make a tackle and also run. However, I do think, listen, he played a half and then Gravenberch came on. I have that down to Arne Slot somehow before the game lacing his groin up or his thigh or whatever he's got injured. I haven't seen. Lacing that shit up somehow whilst he was sleeping with dynamite or something, setting that off at half time so he could still have Gravenberch for a half. Because more than a half about Gravenberch in the Premier League is punishable by death in Arne Slot's world. So he blew up Jones's groin. Bit tight, bit overboard, to be honest. But then he had to go off, and Gravenberch obviously came out. I thought Jones was fine. I'm not going to go overboard. There was one where he had the ball headed to him in the box, and he looked like he was there to just score, and he just weirdly controlled it straight to the goalie. That was a weird one. 6, I think, is probably fair for Jones. He's against Iwobi in the middle. I imagine Iwobi's the kind of guy with the coloured hair and stuff. I imagine his diet is made up of exclusively Mike and Ike's and nerds. Just all the E numbers. He's having Fruit Loops, whatever it is. Mike and Ike's and nerds, just guzzling them down. Millions, remember them? They still sold in a tube, plastic bag thing, and they were just little chewy bubble gummy type sweets, and just get everywhere. You couldn't eat them without spilling them, and then your dad would go mad at you for spilling them. Just me? Maybe just me. Florian Wirtz. Well, he doesn't eat any of that because he just has breakfast, doesn't he? Loves his brekkie, this guy. I've got to always get that in. Never forget that Florian Wirtz loves brekkie. Today, solid. Just fine. Nothing that was really lighting me on fire. Did come away with an assist. That's because he understood today's assignment, right? All he had to do on that pitch today was, as soon as he got that ball, give it to that fella on the left wing for us. Give it to him, because he's the guy, and we'll get to him in a second. He's the guy, and Wirtz knew that. Just give him the ball, and every time you get it, give him it again, and again, and again, and again, and he's going to do the rest, because Wirtz keeps it simple, gets an assist as a result. Happy days. What can I say? Love to see that. He's still not grabbing the games that I'd maybe want him to, and being the difference maker as you might expect from a player like him. I do want more of that. I do wonder how much of that is actually him, how much of that is the manager. Of course, I don't want to get on the manager today. We are focusing on the win. It's a happy day today. It's not the day to criticise. Let's have a bit of joy in life before we moan on Tuesday, inevitably. Solid performance. What can I say? I think I'm going to go 7 as well. As you can see, it was a performance that was fine. No real bad performances sticking out, but none that were proper boss. None that were he played belter today. Do you know what I mean? It was just very sound. It was just a sound as a quid level performance. And Salah, he had the weirdest game of everybody today. Because every time he got the ball before his goal, it was awful. Terrible. He was losing it just by running into players again. Thinks the holograms, thinks he can just run straight through he's just villain in Scooby-Doo made out of ghost material, and he can just ghost through walls. No, you can't do that, Mo. You are old, but you're not in fact dead yet. You can't haunt your way to the goal. Kept losing it. Every time he got the ball, he'd pass it straight to Fulham. That's a hallmark of Salah at the minute. But then he got the ball, played to him by Gak shit, and he just, you're thinking this one's over the bar. If you've watched Salah this season, you think he's leaning back, Fat Joe, and the ball is going over the bar like you wouldn't believe. Not today. It wasn't rugby. It wasn't a field goal. He just calmly curls the ball into the far corner. Lovely finish, gotta say. Still shows a bit of quality every now and then. That is good to see. Got that goal. And then his confidence was back a bit. And he was he bust out the Travella pass. We haven't seen that all year. Last season he was doing about 5 of them a game and getting mad assists with them every second game. This season he's forgotten how to do it again. It's someone bought him a DLC or something for last season only, and it's expired now. A new skin on Fortnite, but now it's not cool anymore, and you've got to buy a new one. Mate, Fortnite is just, that is a whole different level of experience playing that game nowadays as an older person in its demographic, let me tell you that much. Do you reckon Mo Salah's ever played Fortnite? That's the real question today. Do we reckon Mo Salah has ever played Fortnite? I think yes. I think he has. There's footballers on it, right? Who's on it? I'm sure there's footballers on it. Is Ronaldo on it or something? Probably is. Is Salah on it? Probably not. He should be. Get Salah on Fortnite. He's my guy. Did a 1-2 with Frimpong today where he wasn't even looking. Backheeled it into the air by running. And that really epitomised it. Got a nice send-off when he got... A nice applause, when he was subbed off. 7 for me for Salah today. Pretty decent. Interesting debate as well. Would he have took a penalty today if we'd have got it? I think yes. My family thought no. He definitely shouldn't. Let's make that clear. We did unfortunately... No, I'm not going to moan. I was going to say we did unfortunately have to watch Gakpo today. Gakpo. He was there out on the pitch, but he got an assist. He did his bit. It wasn't a hindrance to the team, except some of the crap things he did, which unfortunately I will have to address. At one point, we're through on goal. If he plays Salah in, he whacks it straight into Isak. Okay, that's a bit annoying, right? We can get past that. He was also, in the build-up to the first goal... He just got, RKO'd by Bassi. It was insane. Bassi just runs over, prime 2009 Randy Orton, just slithering in. Oh, watch out. RKO to Cody Gakpo. He's left sprawled in a heap in the middle of the floor. I don't know what was going on. Everyone was just falling over. It was like the weirdest game today, with people just randomly falling over nothing. Gakpo was there, obviously, cushioned his fall with the flipping Michelin Man. He's wearing the Michelin Man? The marshmallow man who looks like the Michelin Man from Ghostbusters. He's wearing that on his arm, a red one. It's like a bouncy castle, honestly. If he falls on the floor with that thing, it brings him back up. When will that thing go, by the way? Who knows? Is he going to have an orange one on in the World Cup for Netherlands? Who knows? But, yeah, he was there. Every shot he has gets blocked, and I'm not exaggerating. Apart from one that he hit wide, all of them today, block. He could honestly build a tower of Lego with all them blocks. I'm being serious. It's ridiculous. Minecraft did have him as a sponsor. He's got more blocks than the whole game of Minecraft, I'm telling you. But we won. And that's all that matters today. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters today apart from the 3 points. And so Gakpo gets a 6. I think a 6 is fair. What do we reckon? I think I'm going to give him a 6. And let's go to Rio. Now, this guy is the guy. He needs to play against PSG on Tuesday. Rio Ngumoha is the fucking man. That's what he is. He might be 17 years old. He might be born in 2008. 2008. Let that sink in. It's horrendous how young he is. But he's ready now to play, right now. What a performance. Again, I knew he was going to get took off. I knew he was when he did because we're keen on protecting his minutes. I hope that means he's going to start on Tuesday. I personally don't think he will. I don't think there's a world he starts. But he has to. He's genuinely our best attacker. He actually is our best attacker. Every time he plays, he's quality. He's so good. He had Timothy Castagna in the spin cycle so many times today. The washing machine broke. It was ridiculous. He didn't know what day it was. He didn't know whether he was coming or going. He sent him to this shop, then he sent him to a different one. He was looking for things in stores that didn't sell them. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what day he was meant to be playing, who he played for, what his name was. He'd lost all sense of reality because Rio Ngumoha was spinning him all over the gaff. Imagine what it must be like. You're a professional footballer. You've played your whole career. You're a top pro. You've played in the Premier League for a number of years. And then the 17-year-old kid comes on and he's tearing you a new one. Your arse must drop out your kecks onto the floor every time he gets the ball. And his fast twitch fibre legs are doing step-overs at the speed of light. I reckon he's got the highest step over per minute of any player to ever play in the Premier League. Even young Ronaldo, who was doing them like there was no tomorrow. He's just so positive. The goal is fantastic. Picks the ball up. He's in a dangerous position. He attacks it. He's moving Castagna all over the place. He doesn't know what foot Rio's going to go on. He doesn't know where he's going to end up with his dribble. He makes half a yard and then he curls it with such a nice purchase. Just really got the nice connection on the ball. Curved it around Leno, who's a decent goalkeeper, by the way. He's no schmuck in net. And Rio curls it in and goes off celebrating. And then my brother informs me that the celebration, I'll give it a go, just for all of you to have a little laugh at. It was like this, yeah? Apparently that's Scuba from TikTok, right? So any of you, I don't have TikTok personally, but any of you lot who are online might know what that is. And Rio did it, and did it ruin the goal a bit? Yes, it did a little bit, but he's a kid. He's allowed to do that in my eyes. So, and also he's fucking boss at footy, so he can do as many TikTok dances as he wants. To be honest, I've seen him do an interview, another interview for a Liverpool player, by the way. This one was a good one though. It was on Sky. It was like Ask Rio Anything. He said Neymar was his idol. He said he wants to win the Ballon d'Or. He wants to win loads of Prems and Champions League at Liverpool. He said his earliest memory of Liverpool was us winning the Champions League against Spurs. Oh, now that makes me feel ancient. He did then say that the first player he remembers is for Liverpool is Luis Suarez, which also makes me feel very old. But he would have been about 5 or 6 when Suarez started really like kicking on at Liverpool. I'm thinking around like 20. God, when did Suarez even join now? I don't even know. It was around when Rio would have been 5 or 6, wasn't it? 2011, to 2013. Sort of. That was Suarez at his best for Liverpool. So. Makes me feel very old, but he's so good. I love how direct he is. I love that he mixes up his game. He's not afraid to keep it simple at times and play the pass backwards, but then he likes to go at his fullback. He has tricks in the locker, like a flipping clown at the top of his game. Magician, he's like Dynamo. He's got all the tricks of the trade. David Blaine, he was a magician, right? I nearly said musician then. David Blaine definitely wasn't a musician. He might have been a magician. He's the fellow who trapped himself in a box like ages, right? Was that a thing? People aren't doing that anymore, are they? Magicians aren't doing it like they once did. But Rio is. If you want to see a magician, come watch Rio Ngumoha play football. He's ace, and he needs to be playing more and more and more. He should just be our starting left winger. He should. If only there was a fan base that had been saying he should be playing every week. If only there was. Oh, there was. It was us. For me, it wasn't quite perfect. There were a couple of times he let his man run off him defensively. I have to remember that. I have to point that out. It's not a 10, but it is a solid 9. I mean, you don't get performances like that from 17-year-old kids unless they are very, very special. And they did actually ask him about Max Dowman in that interview that I watched. And they said that, are you mates with him? And he said, yeah, we're good mates. We've shared rooms in England. He's well better. I'm not having Max Dowman. Max Dowman? Rio, have you seen Rio? He's the guy. This is my main fella. His name is Rio, and he dances on the sand. Absolutely, he does. 9 for Rio. Let's go on to the subs. Let's rattle through these. Gravenberch was there. He came on for a half. He knocked around. He didn't do a whole lot. The Grand National was today. There was a horse called... God, what was it called now? It was something like Total Panic or something like that, and it fell at the second. Hurdle. I had to get that in, just because that's funny. It clearly lived up to its name, didn't it? And it just fell over. That was a bit like Gravenberch on Wednesday night against PSG, just out of its depth. But he was there today. He didn't cause any problems. I'll just give him his standard 6 and move on to Maka, who also came on. I didn't notice Maka at all, except for when he had a shot. The ball got laid back to him on the edge, or like ricocheted to him, and he lines up for a crack. You're thinking, here we go. It was Gakpo, actually. I think he should have played Isak in. He didn't, because he always picks the wrong thing. And how have I forgot to mention Gakpo's miss? How have I forgot? I should have retroactively go back and give him a 5, but I can't be bothered. I'm sorry. I've got to abandon McAllister and just say, when someone crosses the ball in for him, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Frimpong. Yeah, it was. Crossed the ball in. Great cross. Why does Gakpo not just head it in the net? Instead, he tries to control it, and he even managed to mess that one up. Disastrous. That should have been a minus point. In fact, he's getting it. I'm sorry, Gakpo. It's a 5 on account of that miss. You've been minus the point in McAllister's rating. Who would have thought it? McAllister, you're just getting a 6. Hair looked very thin today. Very thin indeed in the sunshine. And then Isak came on. Was very happy to see him at Anfield again. Obviously, didn't get involved all that much because we were actually sort of under a bit of pressure, to be honest, in the time that he played. But he should have been played in a few times by Gakpo, or he nearly had a cross on his head. Brilliant ball in. I think that was Salah that time who put a great cross in. And or was it Salah? I can't remember. Somebody crossed the ball in, and it looked like he was going to head it in, and then Bassi, I think, just got a flick on it, and Isak was already heading it, and it just got away from him. But yeah, great to see him out there again. Hope he can build up fitness. Hopefully he can play maybe a half or maybe 60 minutes against PSG. I think we'll need him. For me, it's just another 6 again for him, so let's give him his 6. And then Gomez came on. I thought he was quite poor today. He struggles a little bit when he comes on as a sub, I think, especially when he comes on at right back. I don't know, he just wasn't that good. He looked a little bit off the pace, made a pretty rash challenge at one point. Also, just out of interest, did anybody see Sasha Lukic's face just had like blood on it for ages today, and then finally they stopped the game for it? That was weird. Why was his face just bleeding? Who knows? Gomez's face, you wouldn't know if it was bleeding because it's just covered in sideburns. 5 for Gomez. He looked a bit poor. And then Nioni came on for his 5th Premier League appearance. I think every single one of them, he's come on for about a combined 10 seconds. And I've given him a 6 every time because he doesn't even touch the ball. Slot just whacks him on. I reckon there's some sort of betting allegation. I can't say that. I can't throw allegations around like that. But something's not... why does he put him on? Is it for like a... What's the point? I don't know. Anyway, before I get myself throwing allegations around, let's call it a day there. That is the player ratings. Let's get everything off the screen and wrap up for today. If you did enjoy today's video, guys, please do leave it a like. Apologies, a little bit later out of the ratings than usual, but I'm sure you'll all understand. Hopefully, you've been enjoying Arsenal Fan TV like I will be later. If you are enjoying today's video, please do click a like. We are trying to get to 35 likes on each video. If you could help me hit that target, that would be amazing. We are also trying to hit 500 subscribers, so if you want to click subscribe and help me get there, we're 20 away at the time of uploading this video. For 20 people who watch this, click subscribe, we'll have 500. That will be amazing. So thank you very, very much, everyone who has done so already. Go tell your friends to do so if you haven't. Podcast listeners, 5-star rating reviews, thank you so much for listening. I'll be back. Will I? What do we want? It's Tuesday. We play. That'll be ratings. Probably have time to make one video, guys, because I do have an exam. I might not even have time to make one, either a preview or a tactical video for this one. I've got a busy week. I've got an exam on Tuesday. We'll see. But I'll be back at the very latest on Tuesday for the ratings for PSG. Until then, I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all soon. Goodbye.